The SEAL sniper's dead. That's what the enemy believed when they celebrated on the ridge, waving a stolen American flag and laughing as 12 operators bled out below. Then the mountain answered. One shot. 624 meters. No warning. The commander folded backward, the flag catching fire as he fell. 11 more shots followed in 84 seconds. 11 kills. Perfect precision. The enemy never saw her coming. Because the sniper they dismissed as a clerk, the woman they called a diversity hire, the lieutenant they assigned to count bullets in a supply depot, had just climbed 70 meters of sheer cliff with a 30-pound Barrett rifle, and Lieutenant Sloane Merrick was about to teach them why silence wins. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from, and if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive. Wind howled through the canyon, scraping dust off the cliffs like sandpaper against steel. Tracer fire stitched across the valley floor, red, white, then gone. Voices in another language shouted over the gunfire, rough and triumphant. The SEAL sniper's dead, someone screamed. For a moment it sounded true. Then the mountain answered. One thunderclap, a single, perfect shot. The man laughing on the ridge folded mid-sentence, chest caved, radio clattering down the rocks. No muzzle flash, no warning, only silence reclaiming its ground. Far above the chaos, a lone figure stayed prone against the stone. No insignia visible, no voice on comms, just a rifle barrel cooling in the wind. For now, her name stayed buried under the noise just like she wanted. Hours earlier, the plan had looked clean. Task element Cinder. 12 operators from Naval Special Warfare Detachment Slate 12 assigned to hit a weapons cache in Archer's Cut. Coordinates checked. Weather clear. 0 dark 30 insertion. Captain Dale Whitaker laid out the map with a steady hand. Every man leaned in except the one woman standing quietly in the back. Her call sign was Night Warden, but few used it. To them, she was background logistics, paperwork, ammo counts. She had the record top of sniper school, ballistic precision under impossible conditions. But she also had the wrong gender in the wrong unit. So when assignments rolled out, Whitaker didn't look up. Merrick, you stay on comms and supply. Keep the trucks ready. She nodded once. Arguing never changed anything. The helicopter ride in was quiet. Rotors thumped against the thin desert air. Through the open ramp, the horizon looked endless black rock and ash-colored wind. Sloane Merrick sat alone near the tailgate, gloved hands folded around a copper casing engraved with 2 words, Quiet Wins. It had belonged to her father, Gunnery Sergeant Victor Merrick, killed near Mosul when she was a kid. She still remembered his voice teaching her to shoot. If they hear you, it's already too late. The Chinook touched down hard. Boots hit sand. The team fanned out, whispering through comms. Riker and Sato, the 2 male snipers, climbed to overwatch while Sloane stayed near the vehicles with the medic and comtech. She watched their silhouettes vanish into the cliffs, rifles glinting in the moonlight. Then she checked her watch. 10 minutes to breach. The first explosion hit before anyone reached the objective. A mine under the trail detonated, flipping the lead truck like a toy. Machine gun fire erupted from 3 angles. Flashes from the ridge, muzzle bursts from the west, RPG trails slicing through the smoke. Someone yelled for cover, but there was none. The entire valley had become a killing ground. Sloane dove behind a boulder, sand cutting her face. Static screamed in her headset. Contact left, contact right, contact rear. Whitaker's voice broke through the chaos. Riker's hit Sato's down, we're blind up top. Then silence comms dead. The enemy's laughter carried over the wind. They believed they'd killed every sniper. Gunfire echoed down, closer each second. Sloane peeked over the rock saw muzzle flashes. Movement, shadows pouring along the ridge like ants. If she did nothing, everyone below would die in minutes. Her eyes climbed the canyon wall, 70 meters up a thin ledge, jagged but high enough for a full line of sight. The only problem, it was straight up. She slung her M4 across her back, grabbed the hard case she'd refused to leave behind. Inside waited 30 pounds of precision steel, the Barrett M107A1. She unlatched it with bare hands, the metal biting cold. One breath, Then she started to climb, hand over hand, fingers slipping on shale, using each burst of enemy fire as cover for her own movement. Every foot gained meant one more second of life for the men below. Dust filled her throat, the strap cutting deep into her shoulder. She kept climbing, kept breathing. Halfway up, a bullet snapped past her ear. Rock splintered, cutting her cheek. She froze, listening, then moved again. Faster now. By the time she reached the ledge, her hands were bleeding, but the rifle was intact. She lay flat, chest heaving, scope already aligned with the glow of muzzle fire below. Through the optic, she counted 12 hostiles too close, too confident. They were celebrating, waving captured gear, mocking the Americans still pinned down. Sloane adjusted the bipod, steadied her breath. Wind 8 miles per hour, left to right, distance 624 meters, elevation -12 degrees. She lined up the shot. Her finger rested on the trigger. The copper casing pressed cold against her chest. Her father's words echoed quietly in her head. Quiet wins. She exhaled halfway and squeezed. The .50 caliber round left the barrel at 2,850 feet per second. It hit the commander square in the chest, lifting him backward off the ridge. His radio screamed once before dying in static. Below, confusion spread like wildfire. The laughter stopped. The mountain forgot how to breathe. And from the high ledge of Archer's Cut, the woman they'd dismissed as a clerk became what she'd always been, a sniper. Unseen and unstoppable, ready to make silence speak again. Dust rolls across the ridge like smoke from a dying engine. Lieutenant Sloane Merrick steadies the Barrett against the stone, cheek pressed to the stock. Through the scope, the world tightens 12 shapes moving where none should. They're laughing, shouting in victory, believing the sniper threat is gone. They're wrong. She reads the wind first. 8 miles an hour cross, drifting left to right. Temperature drops with each second. The air density changes the drag. Her father taught her that math saves lives faster than bullets. She calculates without thinking 624 meters, -12 degrees, 3 clicks left for drift. The commander stands tall on a rock shelf, waving an American flag torn from a dead Marine's pack. He shouts into his radio, gloating, proud. Sloane centers the crosshair on his chest, right where the flag flaps against him. Exhale, half hold, squeeze. The shot cracks the air, reaching him before sound ever could. He folds backward, the flag catching fire on the muzzle of his fallen rifle. A ripple of panic spreads through the ridge. 2 men rush to his body, one grabbing the radio, the other scanning the canyon. She tracks the radio first tiny movement, antenna glinting. Second shot punches through his hand and the device both static screams, then silence. They don't even know where it came from. To her left, a machine gun crew scrambles to reposition. They drag the tripod into place, feeding belts of 7.62 into the weapon. Sloane shifts her aim slightly 1/4 mil down. 2 clicks right. The gunner's chest bursts open mid-turn, his assistant diving for cover. Third shot. Clean. No emotion. No pause. Her finger moves before thought. The assistant grabs the ammo belt, trying to feed it back in panic. Fourth shot cuts through his spine. The belt tumbles free, rounds spilling like beads down the slope. Below! Captain Whitaker's voice finally breaks through comms, static-riddled. Desperate. Whoever's up there, relocate. That ridge is compromised. Sloane answers. Calm as still water. Negative. I'm finishing what I started. Whitaker tries again. Voice higher. That's an order. Merrick. But she's already lining up the next target. If she moves now, the team dies. Orders can wait. Survival can't. Movement flashes near the southern crest binoculars. Counter sniper. He's skilled, steady, scanning for her muzzle signature. Sloane rolls 3 inches right, sets her decoy lens on the rock. A single flash of reflection. He sees it, takes the bait. His rifle cracks. The round screams past her face, heat brushing her cheek, stone splintering inches away. Before the echo fades, she's already firing back. Both bullets cross in the wind like ghosts. His arrives first, harmless, carving the air, Hers arrives second and permanent. Through the scope, she sees him jerk backward, body sliding lifeless down the slope. The duel lasts less than a breath, but it steadies her pulse. One threat down, 11 to go. She checks her chamber. Stovepipe jam. Brass half ejected. She mutters, "Not now." Tap, rack, cycle. The rifle breathes again. She loads a fresh mag, thumb flicking the bolt release smooth. Far below, a new group forms 2 fighters prepping an RPG near a burnt-out truck. Sloane tracks the loader, waits until the weapon tilts upward. 5th shot. The rocket detonates mid-hold, vaporizing both men in a wave of white flame. The shockwave ripples across the ridge, echoing through her bones. More targets break away. Sprinting for the upper trail, she adjusts her scope, leads them by 2 meters. 6th shot drops the man in front. 7th hits the radio pack of another explosion, scattering metal and dust. 8th through a shoulder, sending the rifle spinning into the dark. Every shot calculated, none wasted. Cinder actual to Overwatch. Whitaker calls again. Softer now. "Merrick, talk to me. We're moving." She breathes once, eyes never leaving the scope. "You're clear," she says. "Keep moving north." The canyon is chaos. Bodies litter the rocks. Gunfire fading. The enemy can't regroup, too shocked, too blind. Sloane watches one last fighter crawling for an ammo crate. 9th shot right through the latch. The box erupts, sparks dancing like embers in the wind. For 84 seconds, she's death and math and muscle memory. 11 shots, 11 hits. Everyone precise enough to carve the night open. By the time she lifts her head, the mountain is silent again. Her breath slows. Her cheek burns where the near miss grazed her skin. She touches the copper casing at her chest, its edge warm from the climb. Her father's words return, quiet as the wind, quiet winds. She lowers the rifle, scanning the canyon one last time. Below, flashlights move her team, alive, regrouping, running for extraction. No one sees her yet. They will soon, for now. The ridge belongs to her alone, the last echo of a sniper they thought was dead. The ridge smells like burned cordite and copper. Sloane Merrick wipes grit from her cheek, the skin still raw where the counter-sniper's round kissed her. Her rifle lies hot against the stone, barrel shimmering in the dry wind. Below, the canyon crawls with movement shadows rising, men limping, wounded voices calling through static. Captain Whitaker's voice crackles back to life. "Slate 12, regroup at the north corridor." Move. Now she listens to the command, eyes still on her scope. No more targets move along the ridge. But something in the sound of that wind says it isn't over yet. She reloads 12 empty shells beside her elbow, each one cooling in the dust. Through the haze, she spots her team pulling back toward the narrow ravine. 2 men drag Riker, his arm bandaged in field cloth. The medic works while moving, blood streaking his sleeves. The entire scene feels impossibly fragile, like one wrong noise could shatter it. Her comm hisses again. "Merrick, that ledge won't hold, pull back and link up." She presses the transmit key once. "Negative, sir." "Not until you're out of range." Whitaker curses under his breath, but he doesn't repeat the order. He knows what she's doing. "Covering them." Sloane adjusts her elevation, tracking the canyon's western lip. A handful of enemy fighters still crawl among the wreckage, regrouping near a burned-out truck. She watches one of them wave an RPG tube toward the retreating SEALs. The angle's bad, the distance long. She dials the scope a half mil higher. The next shot snaps like thunder. The rocket explodes before it leaves the launcher, lighting the canyon in orange flame. Her headset fills with half shouts and disbelief. "Holy, who was that?" Whitaker's reply cuts through. "That was her. Keep moving." The rhythm of boots and gravel returns measured, desperate, alive. Wind shifts again, bringing smoke and heat up the slope. Sloane blinks through stinging eyes, scanning for more movement. The canyon feels haunted now. Dead men's whispers carried on the gusts. She switches mags, keeping one round chambered. Below, the black-hulled MH-60S helicopter circles in, rotors kicking up the sandstorm. Extraction inbound. 2 minutes. The pilot's voice echoes through comms, steady and clipped. Sloane lowers the Barrett, pushes herself to one knee. Her muscles scream from the climb, but she crawls to a better angle. From here, she can see everything: the retreat, The flare. The smoke. Then something flickers on the far ridge. A single figure breaking from the debris, sprinting with a rifle across his chest. No uniform, no hesitation, charging straight for the evacuation zone. Sloane exhales, letting instinct take over. Distance 650. Wind 7 cross. She fires. The bullet catches him mid-stride, sending him tumbling into the dust before he ever reaches the slope. Zone clear, she reports. The radio falls silent for a heartbeat, as if no one knows what to say. Then Whitaker's voice, low and sure. Copy. Night Warden, all teams aboard. It's the first time he's called her by that call sign. Something tightens in her chest, but she keeps her focus through the scope until the last man climbs aboard. The helicopter's rotors thunder, shaking the canyon. Light flares off the sand, painting everything gold. Sloane stays prone, tracking the bird as it lifts, its silhouette shrinking against the smoke-striped sky. She doesn't wave. She just watches until the noise fades, and the dust settles back into stillness. Only then does she rise. Her knees ache, fingers numb, ears ringing from hours of suppressed gunfire. She gathers her casings one by one, sliding them into a pouch like precious coins. The last one she holds a moment longer, the casing engraved, "Quiet Winds." She presses it to her chest before tucking it away. The wind finally dies. The canyon stands silent, emptied of all sound but her footsteps on gravel. She starts down the slope slowly, rifle slung across her back, eyes scanning the horizon where smoke meets sunrise. Behind her, the ridge still burns, tiny flames flickering against the stone like the heartbeat of a dying beast. Whitaker's voice breaks through once more, faint but steady. "Night Warden, confirm your status." She smiles for the first time all night. "Alive," she says, "mission secure." And as she descends toward the waiting world below, the copper casing taps softly against her gear, a quiet reminder that silence still owns the mountain. Dawn creeps over the base like a reluctant confession. The hangar doors groan open, spilling light onto rows of exhausted men and one woman sitting apart. Lieutenant Sloane Merrick leans against a crate, hands raw, uniform still streaked with the red dust of Archer's cut. The Barrett rests beside her, disassembled, silent, its purpose fulfilled. For the first time in 12 hours. There's no wind, no gunfire, no orders. Inside the command tent, debriefing starts with the smell of coffee and antiseptic. Maps cover the table, still marked in black grease pencil impact zones, kill shots, escape routes. Captain Dale Whitaker stands at the head, eyes hollow but proud. 11 confirmed kills, the intel officer says quietly. Whitaker corrects him without looking up. 12, he murmurs. You missed the one that almost fired the RPG. Sloane doesn't respond. She watches the steam rise from her untouched mug, fingers absently tracing the copper casing in her pocket. The engraving is worn smooth now, letters fading beneath her thumb. Quiet Winds. Her father's words still ring truer than anything the room could say. When the officer asks who provided overwatch, Whitaker hesitates. Then he turns slightly, eyes meeting hers across the table. Merrick, he says. No ceremony, no pause, just truth delivered clean. The room falls quiet. Even the air conditioner hum seems to stop listening. Riker, arm in a sling, breaks the silence first. He walks over, setting a compact med kit beside her. New field issue, he says, voice steady but softer than she's ever heard it. Lighter, stronger, based on your checklist. She nods once, offering no words, he doesn't need them. Owen Sato appears next, still limping. He sets a small black box on the table. Inside lies a new scope matte finish, high-clarity glass, the kind you can't requisition through normal channels. He doesn't explain where it came from. He just says, "You'll need better range next time." She smiles faintly. There won't be a next time. He doesn't answer, but the look in his eyes says otherwise. Whitaker is the last to move. He steps forward holding a single sheet of paper, edges creased, signature line blank. It's the sniper team authorization form she was denied a year ago. He places it in front of her. "I was wrong," he says quietly. "And I'm not repeating that mistake." Sloane takes the pen. The ink bleeds slow across the page, her name beside his. Whitaker exhales like the war itself just loosened its grip. From now on, he adds, front row. Word spreads fast. By nightfall, half the base has heard the story, the woman on the ridge who saved them all. Numbers twist with every retelling, 11 kills, 13, maybe 15. The details blur, but one phrase stays the same. Quiet wins. It shows up on lockers, etched into gear, whispered before missions. Sloane doesn't seek the attention. She spends mornings at the range, guiding younger shooters. Her instructions are few, her tone calm. When you breathe right, distance doesn't matter, she tells them. When one of them complains about recoil, she smiles. If you're fighting your rifle, you're already losing. They start calling her Night Warden again, this time without irony. Weeks later, Slate 12 gathers in the ready room for the first time since Archer's cut. Sloane lays the copper casing on the center table. Its surface gleams faintly under fluorescent light. My father carried this through Mosul, she says. He taught me the loudest warriors aren't the strongest. The quiet ones are. They finish what others can't. Whitaker nods once, eyes steady. Permission to make that our creed. She answers with a single word, granted. Within a month, every operator in the unit carries a replica, some on chains, others tucked into chest pockets. One Marine has it tattooed across his ribs with the date of the battle beneath. No one orders them to. It just happens. Something that real doesn't need an explanation. But stories have a way of traveling further than bullets. Across bases, through briefings, into the dark places where rumors grow into legend. Somewhere, a stranger hears the phrase "quiet wins" and asks, who started it? The answer changes every time, no one can say for sure. And that's exactly how she likes it. Weeks later, a black sedan rolls to a stop outside the barracks. A man in a gray suit steps out, holding a sealed folder. His badge says, Central Intelligence Agency. He glances at her, then at the scope resting across her knees. Langley's been tracking your shot data, he says. They'd like a word. Different kind of war. Sloane studies him for a long moment, unreadable. Then she picks up the copper casing, slipping it back into her pocket. As long as it's quiet, she replies. The agent smiles faintly. Ma'am, quiet is exactly what we need. As the sedan pulls away into the dawn, Sloane looks toward the firing range where the younger recruits are already lining up. The wind is picking up again, steady and sharp across the valley. She whispers under her breath, almost to herself. Quiet winds. And somewhere in the desert distance, the echo answers back. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.